deliberate suppression. There's a related domestic angle worth noting too. A large share of fresh vegetables sold in American grocery stores comes from Mexico, and the fertilizer needed to grow them comes from a mix of sources that includes Russia, China, and Gulf suppliers. Full sanctions against Russian and Chinese fertilizer exports would hit American grocery prices directly and immediately. A reminder that global supply chains don't respect the neat boundaries drawn around any single regional conflict. Underneath all of it sits a deeper structural bottleneck, a global shortage building in diesel and aviation fuel, because the refineries built to produce those specific fuels depend on a particular grade of high-sulfur crude, and that supply has already been reduced by roughly a quarter. Any further disruption from expanded strikes only compounds a shortage that was already tightening before any of the latest escalation began. Back on the immediate battlefield, there was a fresh round of missile launches reported out of Kuwaiti territory just in the last few hours, which raises an obvious question that keeps getting sidestepped. Why would any Gulf host nation be surprised at getting struck when missiles keep launching from inside its own borders? That's not new either. There were images from earlier in the conflict showing the same pattern, launches originating from Kuwaiti soil. The expectation going forward is that Iran keeps concentrating firepower on Kuwait and Bahrain specifically until those bases are no longer functional. Looking at the target list over roughly the last day, the pattern shows strikes reaching further into Iranian territory itself than before, hitting areas and counties that hadn't previously shown up on any target list. Combined with the bridge strikes, that's not a reassuring combination. There's a hope that de-escalation wins out here, that restraint prevails before this goes further. But the more likely outcome is that the current pace continues for another week or two before the economics of it, the sheer depletion of weapons stockpiles, force a change. That's likely to become an internal fight inside the Pentagon itself, with the commands responsible for watching China and Russia pushing back hard, arguing that committing everything to this one theater leaves their own assigned missions unsupported. And that tension is compounding right now because the United States is simultaneously taking provocative steps elsewhere. A group of roughly a dozen nations recently issued a joint statement on the South China Sea, though notably only one of the Asian nations directly bordering that sea signed onto it, alongside a handful of Western and European countries. From Beijing's perspective, that reads as further confirmation that the United States is positioning against China, and from that same vantage point, every missile spent on Iran is one less missile Washington has available for a future confrontation.